Howdo. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to King Bespoke Creations, and I have a new tool for some pyrography. Oh, I love a bit of pyrography. Usually I use this. Okay, great big electric box, plugs in. We've got two pens with nibs that heat up very quickly, and you can mess around with it, and it's great, and it works really, really well. It can get a bit frustrating with the cables though. Quite often I'm going to have to get an extension cable out, and it's a big setup. Now, I recently saw on Instagram somebody doing some pyrography using a Dremel tool, and I thought, did Dremel make a pyrography pen? Now, Dremel have very kindly sent me tools in the past for review, so I got in touch with them and said, do you make a pyrography pen? And they went, yeah, we do. So they sent me what is the Dremel Versatip. So here we have the Dremel Versatip. As the name suggests, it's a versatile thing with tips. Pretty much designed to do soldering initially, I believe. Hence the reason you get a reel of soldering iron with it. But it's also got these extra nibs and tips on here. Some of these tips are for cutting the mesh webbing, so it heats up and seals it all at the same time. Others are for snipping plastic. We've got heat shields so you can bend things. We've got this great big extension on the end to use the whole thing just as a heat gun. But I'm far more interested in these tips. These are all about pyrography, a different way of doing it. So let's just have a look and see how we get on. So to fill and refill the Dremel Versatip, it's butane gas. Using the canisters that you can get for refilling lighters, pop the nozzle on the end. Once it fizzes, it's done and it's full, ready to go. To fire it up, flick the little switch, lock it in place, otherwise it'll turn off again. And then we can adjust the flame so you can have varying different heat temperatures. Grabbing a small tip first. This almost works just like a biro pen. You just draw on it. It doesn't matter which way you work, which way the grain orientation works. It just sketches down really, really well. The only thing to watch for is if you pause, like a big ink pen would do, the heat spreads. So we'll see as we do this roof section, there's occasions where I just pause a fraction too long and it gives you those little dots. Now, I must admit, changing tips I thought would be a tricky process because I know these tips are going to stay hot for a long time, but because you get a spanner, it means you can unscrew it, drop it into the little tin and carry on with the next pen. Now, all of these tips have a little hole in them so the heat buildup doesn't make things explode. But it does mean occasionally you can just turn that round and use the heat that comes out of it for shading. Now, there is a set tip to do that, but why bother changing when you can just use any of the tips that you already have attached? I wanted to try as many tips as possible on this project, and some of them are really useful. So this one can do big fat broad strokes and thin lines as well, which means you can do almost anything with it. Always have a little test scrap piece of the same wood you're working with next to you, so you can try out a few different tips, try out a few different techniques. And just to finish the picture off, a little bit of staining to create a frame, paint it on, wipe it off, job done. And there we are, one finished pyrography picture. I really like it. So the Versatip works really well as a pyrography pen. Am I going to get rid of this setup that I've had initially? No, I don't think I am. For big full-size pictures like this, I dare say the electric one might just be a little bit easier to use. But I can definitely see the benefits of the Versatip. It makes it easier to just quickly get out, put something on a piece of work that you're doing, whether that's a name or a bit of writing or just a little bit of detail somewhere. It's going to work fantastically for that, but it can do the big pictures as well. Plus the fact it's a soldering iron, it's a cutting implement, it's a heat gun, it's a mini blowtorch. I'll leave a link in the description downstairs for you to get your hands on one of these, because I think you should. Also make sure you check out this video because I think you'll really like it. So until next time, grab a nice piece of wood and I'll see you soon. God bless.